I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm watching some of the journalists on CNN. Well, all of them, really, but right at the moment, asking Trump about what he's going to do in retaliation for the kidnapping and possible murder if you're dismembered, that pretty much uh, says you're dead. And they're saying that the journalist from the Washington Post, I believe, here, they're saying murdered journalist, severe punishment to the Saudis for murdering him. Okay, let me get this together, my ducks in a row if I can after all this. Um, so now then all the media, the Illuminati media, I'm 79 years old, kidnapped at age 2, and the crimes against me and my sons are so horrific, the torture, and I'm going to go back and over all these years. I've put it up, Henry Kissinger's ordered lobotomy on the 18.5-minute gap of a monarch, me, and the global government kidnapped and brought over here and gave me another name. Of course, my mom was an American, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, who married King Edward VIII. And he never married Wallace Simpson, so you follow it. Illegal treaties that allowed the UN to come to be. It's sitting right there up in New York, plain as can be, your global government by the Illuminati, Freemason, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedy's, JFK helped kidnap me. So you got Roosevelt was then on it. Who wasn't? You got your mafia is the all over title for it. So what they've done to me, to my father, and smeared his good name, who is a beautiful man. He never married American spy Wallace Simpson. Okay, let's get to Lina Dempsey and the Dempsey clan, where I was dropped off in a pigsty in Moulton, Alabama. The abuse that Lina Dempsey, that whole family handed out to me as a 2-year-old, starting when I was 2 years old. How's that frost you? Oh, it gets bad. Okay, I'm going to stop because I've been putting up video, and quite frankly, I get afraid somebody listen to me that can't hear me go if they're going back, because people don't like to hear this. They're Americans, and this image is they're your savior, and they saved the Brits. Well, that's a friggin' lie. Now then, people get mad at me for saying that. It's the truth. So, a Turkish paper is saying journalists recorded a hit, claimed journalists killed inside the Saudi consulate. I hope and pray that what has been done to me and my children, my life would be over, and my children, I haven't seen them since so long ago, and they were tortured when I had them with me. I just didn't know why till I was flown out to Larry Flynt's, who was shot. I was doing a book about medical malpractice, and Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, doctor, who went down in the KAL. Supposedly, when they took down the KAL, 1983, August the 31st. I had told about Larry Flynt being shot in Lawrenceville. It was a programmed shooting. I had been telling in the book I was writing that was not published because they almost killed me April Fool Day of 80, even with a letter from the FBI and all this. So now then, let me see if I can keep it straight here. I've got vertigo. I guess everybody knows it. That's watched a few of my videos would know. So I have to stop here. There's no need to go on with it. Jimmy Carter, when he was left, and I guess it was Reagan. Was it Reagan? Is that how it worked? Anyway, hostages were allowed to go home, back to the United States. Now then, there's a minister involved and was kidnapped. He's allowed to come back here. He's back here now going up to the White House, meeting with the president. So all these journalists are attacking Trump, President Trump. What's he going to do about the Saudi murdered journalists? Well, first of all, the Washington Post that he worked for, nothing against this journalist. It's the others and all this global okay, what if the U.S. sanctions the Saudis because of this, and they just had the list of things that would be done? How do you dig people out of the grave? This was done before I was born to my mom and dad. Um, the horror and the takedown, and the United States and the global government, the Illuminati, installed their own monarch. Then they took my dad down because he wouldn't sign the treaties that allowed the United States to go in and invade the UK under the guise of we're your friends, we're saving you. Okay, they got in, and what they did was they made the Brits fight against their own best interests. And the global government, you're talking about the Jews, Israel came back to be. I don't know. I guess people are thinking, and maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. Where's God really in on this? Is He sanctioning what you all did to me and my children and country? And let me remind you, my mom was from the United States. Now, unless you all are ever held accountable that we're involved in this is the Kennedy clan, the road. This just gets involved. Tony Bennett, I was told by the Flying Frenchman, who's dead now, of the Olympics, that he was a part of it. That this man gave me newspaper clippings that had him in it. He came up to me in Clearwater Beach, in Clearwater, Florida, in about 1982, early 82, and he was meant to walk up to me, and he took me right in for a cup of coffee there, and where he was walking his dog, and I was walking. I'd worked at the Tampa Hilton as secretary. Okay, he took me in there and showed me a folder he had. Well, it was kind of identical to some stuff I had about deaths by mind control, and one of them was family. Was that Family Affair? No, where the gentleman, oh God, he even died too, from England. I'm sorry, I just, I'm so used to saying I'm sorry. Wow, for people doing all this to me. Anyway, what was that with the British gentleman that it was Jody, and they were twins and a sister, and he was their well, he waited on them. Right now, excuse me, I've got vertigo, and I guess maybe I shouldn't be doing it. I shouldn't be doing anything, but then I should if I didn't. So there you go. Brian Keith, what was the name of it? Anyway, so somebody will come back and say, well, you get to the point, you don't even know what you're saying, Granny. So I've been made fun of. I cared about people. I wrote about mind control murders. I'm getting to the Brian Keith, and it's not Family Affair. What was that? I can't even think right at the moment. Anyway, that was one that had mind control used in it. And that one can pretty much be proven too if it's ever put before the public. So, for now then, I guess my question is, if the United States and Sir Winston Churchill and Roosevelt, he was the president, all these people, the Kennedys, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds that control your banking, and my Uncle George and fake Elizabeth, she's not the real monarch, she's always known. Trump vows severe punishment if the Saudis murdered the journalist. This is Nick Robertson. I don't know if he's the international diplomatic editor. Missing journalist. Istanbul. What in your thoughts are you? I'm not talking about Trump. My thoughts are, why didn't you do this for me? Why did you help cover it up all these years? But now you can go out and attack CNN, who, by the way, my husband and I went to for help when it was Turner Broadcasting, and then CNN in 1980s when they made the switch. Where were you all back then? And all the media. When I was up in D.C., I fell down in the Capitol with my book on me and letters from the FBI, and about I didn't know about my kidnapping at the time, and I'm going to stop here. That was about the mind control murders, like Larry Flynt was shot. You're talking about George Wallace, governor of Alabama, and programming like Lee Harvey Oswald is what programming people. you can cure an illness or create it. It's the Tesla file. So if you want to, which is what they did, you go back to Atlanta, what I was writing about, and you create an illness or you cure it. Well, you take it over to South Africa, and you tell everybody that you're going in to help them. United Nations has helped create this. So now then they're going to go in and look like the good guy and say to South Africa, apartheid we've gotten rid of, and we're helping you with the part they leave out is we're giving you the illness of Ebola and et cetera, or AIDS. But hey, as long as you leave that little tidbit out, we can create it and put it on you and tell you we're helping you. So now that I'm going to quit, okay, here's President Trump, and they're all going after it. He's shaking hands with the Saudia Prince. Okay, here I am, chopped liver, isn't that what somebody said to me? If you're ever able or have to, let me put it that way, address what you've done to me and are doing to me and mine, how do you figure you're going to repay it all? You can't. And then you have to hope there's God. I do. Because he's the only one that can do it, because it's been ongoing. When I was out at Flynt's and introduced to him, because I had been telling he was a victim of mind control shooting, but he's shot in 78 when I was doing the book in Marietta, Georgia. And this is fast forward to 83 when the plane took Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald down. He was a part in all this. That's the reason they took the plane down, and I bet this has ended, so I'll have to look again. But when I was, Mr. Flynt flew me out there during the campaign to replace Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald. First thing when I went in and met him was they were going to send you back a vegetable. Well, that wasn't the only time. You had Henry Kissinger of the Watergate and the 18-minute gap, and Nixon, and then all of them were involved. They knew about me and my kidnapping, taking down of my father, and the lies, and taking everything British. You think they would be so happy that this is feather in their cap, that the press would have printed all this and told about it a long time ago. Hey, we kidnapped the monarch, took down the monarch, kidnapped his daughter, and by the way, the mother of the monarch is Claudia Ruth O'Keefe's sister, the artist George O'Keefe. Hey, we pulled off a coup. It's a feather in our cap. And then when JFK Jr. came up on the mountain when I'm up there, and I believe it was 93 and 94, the spring after living up there and starving and freezing just to have a place to be, he comes up, and JFK Jr. and his cousin, who was his Aunt Lee Bouvier, sister to Jackie Kennedy, JFK's mother. So these two are cousins, and they're both up there and hiked up, flew the plane down to Roanoke. It's easy to check out the timing. And he had the book, the magazine George. Now here's JFK Jr. coming all the way up there, throws down at the shack up there, the hiker's shack, and on top of the mountain where I've spent the winter and did after then. And he said, I said, you look like JFK Jr. He said, that's who I am. He said, we just came up here to see how we made you live. And he poured out food out of his backpack, and so did his cousin, and they ate in front of me, and a few more. I told him, ended up saying, well, then you know that you all kidnapped me, your father, and of course they did. I'm going to leave it there. They later went down the plane, JFK Jr. and his wife, etc., and then 12 days later, the very same person that was up there, his cousin, died of cancer. Well, you've got me trying to tell you about that they can, from the Tesla files, they can cure or create an illness. Well, I'll leave the question mark to you. If they ever tell about me here, I'm almost 80 years old, how do you repay any of this? You can't. You never intended to. You intended to shut it up and live off the profits. And now what you've got with it is it would seem the end times. You've got your global government, your mark of the beast, and sitting right up there calling itself the United Nations. Now, I'm going to stop before somebody here tells you they want you to tell the truth, but I can't tell it, as long as you don't tell about me. So how do you want to rectify this? You don't, but how, if you're forced to, are you going to rectify any part of this? Nobody but God can. So I guess in the end we'll have to see whose side he's on.